How's it going, everybody? Jim Barton with Steyr Arms, here to make a video that we have been looking forward to making for a long time, which is 300 blackout standard AUG version. Yes, we are going to make one on NATO. Yes, we will make one on the standalone barrels. But for now, as we are launching it as a standard gun, we're going to make a video on it. We're going to talk about a couple of different topics. We're going to talk about, first and foremost, safety and warnings, of which there are several. Basic operation and specifications, and then we're going to go over compatibility and cleaning and maintenance. All of these are really important, so please stick with us while we go through each one. Alright, so to kick it off, we're going to go over the basic specifications of the barrel. Right here we have the Steyr AUG 300 blackout barrel. It is a cold hammer forged barrel just like all of the other ones, hand polished chamber. You're gonna see immediately there are some differences between this one and the 5.56 just in appearance. It's a little bit heavier. Additionally, it has a larger gas block area here. This is to accommodate a much larger diameter piston, which is required to cycle the gun specifically with subsonic ammunition. It is a 1 1/8 twist rate barrel, and it is sports the Mannix gas nitride coating, which all of the American AUG barrels have. All right, so to swap between 5.56 and 300 blackout is remarkably easy. A couple of things to keep in mind here. Always make sure your gun is completely safe and unloaded and there's not any live ammunition in your magazines or in your gun. So lock back, gun is clear, there is no magazine inserted. Lock your charging handle to the rear. Then depress the barrel release button, rotate the barrel, remove the barrel, set it to the side. That's your 5.56. And you're going to take your 300 blackout barrel. All you're going to do is insert it, lock it in. It's a 300 blackout. Alright guys, so obviously we're talking about 5.56 and 300 blackout here. I think we've all probably seen videos on what can happen if the improper cartridge is loaded into the improper barrel. The consequences can be catastrophic and result in serious personal injury and or death. So it's very, very important that we take all precautionary steps to prevent something like that from happening. So let's run through what a couple of those are. First and foremost is identifying what caliber you are actually shooting. Now, I understand that the 5.56 barrel and the 300 blackout barrel are visibly different and sport different gas blocks. But we have things coming in the future which will use this gas block, and therefore it is always important to reference the caliber marking that is on the gas block. Both the 5.56 and the 300 blackout barrels have the caliber engraved on the gas block. Always reference that before loading or using the rifle. Second thing, make sure that when you are going to the range, if you are going to take both 5.56 and 300 blackout ammo, which we cannot suggest that you do, if you decide to do so, make sure that those ammos are stored in separate locations, be that separate range bags. Separate them as much as you possibly can. I understand they look different, but in the heat of the moment, when you're swapping barrels around, it's very easy to load the improper ammunition. Thirdly, use separate magazines. Now, the standard AUG 300 blackout will ship with a Steyr 300 blackout standard magazine. This is a brand new magazine. It's never been brought into the country. It has the Steyr logo on one side, and then it clearly states 300 blackout 7.62 by 35 on the other side. But this is a black polymer magazine. There are lots of black polymer magazines on the market, so we always suggest that you use some sort of caliber band on the magazine and then stick with it. Don't, for ease of use, load 5.56 into this magazine if it's banded 300 blackout, even if you're only shooting 5.56. Make sure you stick with 300 blackout once you banded a magazine that way. Other ways of marking magazines, turquoise paint pen, whatever you want to, but make sure that it's very visible, because additionally, if you're at the range with other people and they may not be familiar with this system, they pick it up, they don't know, and as we already stated, the consequences can be very, very severe. All right, guys, so when you get your 300 blackout, you will get a manual. Inside the manual will be a little addendum for 300 blackout. It's going to go over some of the warnings that I just talked about in a little bit more detail, as well as basic manual of arms and operation of the gas system. And guys, it's always really, really important to remember that the greatest safety that we have access to is what's between our ears. Always follow the basic gun safety rules, where ear and eye protection and gloves are always great. Alright guys, so now we're going to talk about the gas settings, of which there are more than the 556. So the 300 blackout actually has 6 gas settings. Now, it has 4 for supersonic operation, and then it has an LV, low velocity, for subsonic ammunition, and 1 off setting, which for all intents and purposes is the straight pull repeater setting. So the standard supersonic setting is actually position 2. Each setting is marked by a series of dots, with low velocity being marked as LV and off being marked by the word off. Standard setting is 2. That is for unsuppressed supersonic ammunition. Setting 1 is for suppressed supersonic. Then we have 3, which is mild adverse, 4, which is heavy adverse, low velocity is subsonic, and then off being straight pull repeater. Now, going over why there are so many different settings, please understand that we are an Austrian company. These rifles and barrels are sold internationally. The quality of 300 blackout ammo internationally is not always up to par with what we have here in the United States. As such, in certain places with certain ammunition types, it is necessary to have this many supersonic settings. Here in the United States, that's not really the case. 2 is going to be good to go for 99% of 300 blackout supersonic unsuppressed, and 1 is just going to cut a little bit of that gas into the system, make it a little bit more enjoyable to shoot. Alright guys, to address the elephant in the room, does the AUG 300 blackout cycle subsonic ammunition? Now, as we all know, there are a lot of variables here, so I want to address a couple things right off the bat. The AUG 300 blackout will not cycle subsonic ammunition without a suppressor or with a flow-through style suppressor. It is what it is. Now, we did a tremendous amount of subsonic testing, the vast majority of which we did with Hornady 208 grain AMAX and a Surefire Mini 2 7.62. With that combination, we had a tremendous amount of success, and we feel very confident that with a higher, middle to higher end and higher back pressure suppressor with some medium velocity to higher velocity subsonic ammunition, you will get a tremendous amount of success. Alright guys, so cleaning and maintenance. Now, shooting suppressed on a semi-automatic platform is always going to be a little bit dirty, but especially with 300 blackout, it can get really gummed up. Your system can get really gummed up very quickly. Now, something to understand about how the gas system works on the 300 blackout AUG barrel. Easiest way is just going to be to show you. So you're going to take a casing, 300 blackout casing, and you are going to insert the rim into the top of the tabs for the gas plug. Going to rotate it until the lugs come free and remove your regulator. Set the regulator to the side, and then you will need to remove your piston and your piston return spring, which will pop right out, and set those to the side. Now, if you look inside of the barrel gas chamber, you will notice that there is an angled gas porthole. Now, this angled gas porthole enters in through the gas piston chamber, and there is actually a channel that is cut into the side of the barrel that runs down the length of the gas block, and then there is another angled hole. The reason this is done this way is to give us the maximum amount of pressure curve for the 300 blackout subsonic. Now, because you have a channel that is inside and underneath this gas block, that channel can get gummed up with debris and or carbon over time. As such, these are the steps that we encourage every single owner to take after every single range session and or 500 rounds, if you're going to shoot 500 rounds of subsonic ammunition or supersonic ammunition in one range setting. remove the internals of the gas system, take a pipe cleaner or something similar, soak it in copper solvent, lead solvent, and carbon solvent, 3 separate pipe cleaners, and run these pipe cleaners through this channel. And you'll feel it go in, and you'll actually be able to see the pipe cleaner enter the actual channel of the barrel. And you just want to run those solvents through there and let them dissolve the debris and the carbon that are in that channel. If you do not do this and you fire an excessive amount of ammunition over a longer period of time, that channel may become constricted, and subsonic ammunition may have a very, very difficult time cycling in the system. Additionally, if you go a long period of time and it gets very, very clogged, it can be extremely difficult to break up that material. You'll get lead, you'll get copper, you'll get carbon, and it really, really turns into something nasty. As such, we encourage you to clean this system after every single range use to prevent that from happening. Alright guys, well that's going to conclude this very first brief intro video on 300 Blackout. I hope you guys are as excited as we are. I know we've all been waiting on this for a very long time. Grab one and more videos to follow. Appreciate it, guys.